Like, honestly, okay, you'll know this number. You're a smart guy, and I think you're very in tune with your own business.
And a former accountant, by the way.
And a former accountant.
Accountant student.
Your growth percentage from last year to this year.
1,000%.
1,000 friggin' percent.
I matched the fitted to the logo, denim in the club seats, compliment the polo sweater. I'ma go get her. Thanks for pulling for me, but I don't need to pull a shorty route. Lauren pulling for me. Case in point, I was chilling out in Scarborough like last night off the mic. At this banging.
Yeah, are we ready?
We're ready.
Dude, so we're kicking this thing off in style, honestly.
Style.
It's, I got like grievances that I'm going to air with you later on how, because we talked about the headphones and I'm like, I wanted headphones, but.
They wouldn't be plugged into anything.
No, I felt just like I was just going to leave the cord up over the arm of the thing, but none of that
Can we
matters.
get you a set of unplugged headphones?
Yes.
Just so you feel comfortable?
Like, are those mine up there? But.
If they're not plugged
Those
in,
are nice ones.
just throw them
You
on.
want those.
I do want those.
Just
Like
throw
some
'em
M
on.
audios or something.
Life
but
is short. Put the headphones on.
Those are Neumanns.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, not
Look
bad.
at you.
Didn't
You just won't be able to hear what we're saying.
No, I know.
Yeah, that'll make it
I'm like,
funny.
what did you guys say? But more importantly, pay attention, Jason.
Hey.
Our first ever guest on this podcast has 136,000 Facebook followers.
Oh, yeah.
13,000 Instagram followers.
Jeez.
193,000 TikTok followers. That's a big number.
Oh, that's a big
Making him
number.
a social media giant. Never been defeated on Beat the Bully.
I mean, there's been one episode, I think.
He's undefeated.
I know, that's a good bat in 1,000.
If he never does another one, he'll retire undefeated.
That's
true.
That is true.
That is true. So undefeated on Beat the Bully.
Okay.
He owns Wood Bully, as well as Bully Media. Gordon South.
Oh, man.
Do you know this guy?
Yeah, I mean, we just met not too long ago, and I'm actually really pleased that I met you because honestly, you're one of those people that you meet for the first time, and you're like, I'm never gonna forget that guy. I'm never gonna forget him.
That's very nice of you to say that.
Yeah, you're a smart guy.
Interesting.
I mean, obviously, you've done diligence with your craft. So, I mean, we thought it would be probably a really good idea to have you on as our first guest.
Yeah.
Because we just did that. We had you here for that first episode of Beat the Bully.
Yep.
Yeah, and that went really, really, really well. So we figured let's double down.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, that was very, very impressive. But you made a point as soon as you said that he's a memorable guy.
Yeah.
I remember the second time that he came in, I was like, hey, rock and roll t-shirt guy was back. I still didn't know his name, but I was like, rock and roll t-shirt guy was back. It's already.
He didn't tell you his name, and then you're just like,
he did not tell me his name. In fact, you had talked to him the first time he came in, and the second time I'm like, hey, rock and roll t-shirt. Like it already had like made an impression in my mind. And so there are a couple different things that I feel like distinguish you from other people that we'll get into a bit. But like, there's some things that you've done that really make your brand stand out that I feel like are impressive and worth us talking about. But let's get right into things, and we'll get back to the tagline in a bit. So Jason and I were having a conversation about your business, talking about you being a contractor, talking about you being a designer, talking about you being a content creator. And realistically, the only thing we came up with was like, what do you consider yourself? We didn't know what to call you, whether you're a contractor, are you a content creator? Where do you see yourself?
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you for all the compliments. I am honored that I'd be considered to be the first guest or whatever. So for me, myself, it always changes. I used to consider myself just a carpenter, someone who works with wood. Then obviously started doing designing, but I always thought designers were people who didn't actually build things. So having an eye for that while I build things gives me a bit of an advantage. But right now, I more than anything would just consider myself an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Being now a serial entrepreneur, I've probably registered 5 or 6 companies in the course of my life.
Wow.
Different things. Some ideas terrible, some ideas good, some things stick, some things don't. But for the most part, I am a carpenter like by trade, but I'm an entrepreneur by career, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. I feel like that does make sense. Jay, like, what do you consider yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just changed over the the length of what we've done with Northdog and what we've done with the whole furniture design. Like, I think a lot of people would look at what I've done and call me a woodworker, I would have tended to agree, but then you start to dive into what actually goes into the woodworking and what makes the woodworking popular. And then you start looking at the customer base and the customer foundation that you have, and you go, would this exist without social media and content around the social media? And it's like a whole thing for me, because then I go, okay, well, what am I? Like, what am I actually doing? Am I creating the content around woodworking that has become successful and become popular and has ideally made the company, what it is? Like, a lot of our ordering, like 80 to 90% of our revenue that came in last year came directly from social media.
Yeah.
So I start going like, okay, you know what? Maybe we are a content company, but we don't really know it yet, but we are producing furniture. We're producing high-end furniture. So, I mean, it doesn't really escape from that. But I would say that what we're doing right now is definitively a content company.
This is definitely
100% if though de facto a content company. But there was a little bit of a gray area. So I think between doing this and doing the furniture, I think this is like, this is an attempt at, kind of creating content with, Jason Sulyma, myself being a content creator, and Jason Sulyma also being a woodworker, and then really trying to highlight those two things. But it is a gray area. And I think, going forward in this conversation, I think with where we're going with this, you in general, you're an extremely good carpenter. Like an extremely good. You can tell by all the content and everything that you have out there that you know exactly what you're talking about, and people can challenge you, but you have, a very, very good set of knowledge for what you're in. So it'd be tough to not call you a carpenter, but like, let's be honest, man. Like you're creating high-level content.
But does the content sell the work, or does the work sell the content?
It's just like the age-old question that I was just talking about.
It's a chicken and an egg situation.
It is the chicken and the egg.
Well, so for me, my content blew up before I actually started getting leads from the content for the work. So all of my work was done with referrals or with Google ads, just basically blasting like high-end design and build ads all over Google. And I only need 5 or 6 clients a year to do $1 million in sales. So it's pretty easy to meet 5 people who agree with what I'm doing. And then boom, that's my year set as Wood Bully at least. And I agree with you. And at some point, are we just entertainers? Are we just people who, but like, it's like people would say you're a maker or a creator, but just because you're a creative person doesn't mean you're a creator by trade. But even you guys sitting down in this room making this thing happen, you're creating something the same way you create a table, same way make a video, same way somebody would make a song. It's just like, but I feel like woodworking has got to be the most creative of all the trades. So it leads to like people who are creative people who are creative thinkers, artists are mostly failed artists are going to get into woodworking as like a, let's start.
I feel like that was a personal dig.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Yeah. Well, he didn't totally fail, but we didn't totally make it either. But it's just, it's like a place for people who are creative types to make an honest living and not be depressed doing it.
Right.
And then you take technology, the social media and everything we're doing, and you have that get up and go attitude. So obviously you're going to become an entrepreneur because you want to make the most out of your trade. You want to be able to make enough money to provide for your family at the same time while you're doing something you love. So you kind of have to become an entrepreneur doing that. But then why don't we just gather an audience to watch us do this, what some people would consider like a 9-to-5 or a mundane job, yet we're growing audiences of people watching us do things like building a porch or building a table, which honestly sounds absurd when you think about it. But it takes a creative person to go like, I did something really cool and I think other people will think it's cool. So why don't I give everyone the chance to decide whether it's cool or not and see what they do? So basically, you just build an audience, and we could literally build things live and probably sell tickets and it would work.
It's like interesting.
Something.
Yeah, it's like interesting that you say that, but realistically, like I look at my kids that we have at home, and they would rather, or at least equally as much, watch people play video games as opposed to play video games themselves, right? So like we're kind of in that consumption environment.
And when we were kids, that was the most insane thing. I don't even want to be Luigi, let alone watch someone else be Mario.
Give me the
Luigi.
controller, man. You know,
like what? I remember that. Like, what are you doing? That's the lame thing to do. But no, that's the thing that kids do now.
Do you feel like it partially has to do with like the age of knowledge gives you practice, and so many people are visual learners, and they're extremely visual learners, and then there's people that learn by complete hands-on experience. But I think that the social media and the content allows that kind of blurred line between the two of them, right? Where it's like you're watching somebody else do something, and by doing that, you're giving yourself almost more confidence to be able to step into the ring and do it yourself and put your hands on it. You see somebody do something 200 times over again, you're probably more likely going to feel more qualified to want to do that without those nerves of complete failure.
Like free training programs by following. Yeah.
It's education, right?
It is to a degree, but with woodworking, there's so much hands-on stuff you need to do. And sometimes I do stuff that really does take 1,000 hours experience to do with a tool. And if anyone tries it at home, they might hurt themselves. Totally. So it's like, I don't necessarily encourage people to use it as teaching methods. I try to teach like theory, but that's boring to some people too, right?
But I mean, there's always going to be a difference between yourself and a garage warrior, or somebody that's getting into the trade. And, you're going to show people every single day what a professional looks like. And it will take time for that person that is sitting there watching all of your content to become that professional, if that's their goal. But, you're always going to have your leg up, being the teacher. And I think that this is where it's kind of blurring, right? Where content itself is kind of blurring, where I think in years past, you look at pre-internet, you had people not wanting to really teach other people because you didn't want to expose a ton of trade secrets. You didn't want people to learn all the tools and the tidbits of everything that you have. But I think there's a lot of validity to being that guy that is teaching people how to take that jump and that leap to become a professional, and you become the teacher. And I think that people will always remember and look up to their mentors and to their teachers.
Sometimes too much. That's where we get those haters come in. It's like, that's not the right way to do it because I was taught differently. It's getting hot in here. My glasses are fogging up.
It's getting steamy.
Yeah, it's getting steamy
it's
already.
Probably like 27 degrees in here, so I don't blame you.
Conversation. I should have brought a sweater.
I think like there's like some validity to that though, because realistically, so I grew up in southern Indiana.
Interesting.
Where I know. So
you actually do look like it, like the beard, the hat.
I look like just like cornfields and cornbread.
You look like
you look like a corn farmer.
You've eaten boiled peanuts before.
That's like a southern thing, but I have eaten boiled peanuts in my life.
I've never. Can you eat the shells?
People boil peanuts?
Yes, they
it's
do.
like a thing.
I'm so not cultured.
It's a thing.
And they're not tasty at all. They're
disgusting.
Terrible. They're terrible.
Excellent. And their work, right? They're laborious. Right?
They are very laborious because the wetness of that.
So they don't taste good, and I think do a lot of people agree that they don't taste good?
I think it will. So
what's the universal consensus?
You got to think. Even
peanuts?
Though I'm American, right? I'm a Yankee. I'm from the North, right? And boiled peanuts are a southern thing, a very southern thing. And so, like people in the South would say they're delicious, but unless you grew up on them, no go.
Okay, so it's pretty much a niche thing.
Yeah,
extremely it requires a ton of labor.
Yes.
To create these.
Yes.
So you're not qualified to answer this question.
Not to create them. I don't know about the creation process, but definitely to consume them because you've got that wet shell now.
Yeah. You're just boiling peanuts in water, I think, and then you eat them, but you can't eat the shells even though they're soft and soggy now.
I never thought about eating a shell just in general, and I don't think I'd want to eat a soggy one.
I think for the next episode, you have a bowl of them on the table. For the next guy.
There are people who eat the shells of sunflower seeds, by the way.
That's bizarre.
Have you ever seen somebody do that?
Nope.
Just put just a whole handful of sunflower seeds in.
I think even birds spit them out, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if birds are spitting them out, I'm likely spitting them out too. Yeah.
I'm gonna base my taste on these birds, and I'm not eating that part.
Pretty sure.
But I feel like there's some validity too. Like so growing up in southern Indiana, Toyota is they have a big plant in southern Indiana, right? And so they would actually bring in other manufacturers, other dealerships, anybody who wanted to come in, and basically I want to say they had like this whole I think they called it a Hoshin plan, and they brought you in and talked about what their plan was as a company, how they did everything. There wasn't too many trade secrets throughout that entire factory, and they would bring everybody else in. And when, you know, they were asked why during that tour, and they kind of explained this, it was like anybody can tell you what they're doing. It's a whole other world to do those things and to do them well. And so they were fine to share those secrets. And I feel like a lot of the consumption with the internet today is like people have realized that like you can share all of your trade secrets. You can share everything going on. Mm-hmm. It takes a special person to go out, put the work in every day and do it. So you can show people how to do something.
Yeah.
But for them to put it to work, that's a whole different story.
For you to covet your knowledge as if it's exclusive, what they call it, gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Now, some people are like, people who aren't creative type of people are afraid that whatever ideas they do have will be stolen. They'll never come up with new ones. But I've never been afraid of that personally. Like, I know people are going to steal ideas if they're good, and you expect them to. But by the time that they're putting those into practice, you're already on to the next one, and they're using last year's idea anyways.
I think that's the key, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're constantly evolving and you're constantly moving. It happens to us so often here.
But by the time your competitors are using your ideas, you're already on to the next thing.
We've designed new stuff. We've done
because
whatever
right
we
now
can.
I'm designing for what people will not see for another 12 months from now.
Yeah.
Right? So they have
for
no
sure doing a good
idea.
job.
And they'll see it in 12 months from now. And then by then I'll be designing for 12 months from then. So it's important to not worry about people stealing your ideas. In fact, not at all. I wouldn't even spend a second thinking
If anything,
about
it's like it's almost like I feel like it's a compliment, right?
Yeah.
It's a compliment that you know that you're on the right track, and if you're
inspiring people is more than anything.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily stealing your ideas. You're just inspiring them to create something. They're like, oh, I wish I would have thought to trim that out, or I would have thought to put something like that in. And then it starts to become a trend, and by then you're already on to the next thing.
Yeah. So, you know, we'll like today's landscape though. Like I feel like. People don't really understand. Old timers always talk about how difficult it is, right? Like, oh, you wouldn't understand business in my day and some of those things. Well, realistically, yes and no. I feel like you get like those knowledgeable people and so much respect to people who build businesses, but it's just a different world, right? Like we could never go back and build the business. I mean, if you wanted to learn how to build a deck on your own 30, 40 years ago, like Encyclopedia Britannica, where did you go to learn how to...
You had to be an apprentice.
Yeah, like where did you learn how to build? You couldn't build your own deck. Today we can go online, we can learn from the best of the best, get the best tips, the best secrets, and do all those things. But at the same time, I feel like people back then who were starting their businesses, there's no way that they could be a fantastic carpenter who had an unreal skill set to be able to build decks that people wanted on their homes, and then also be able to build a social media page and a social media following and be able to market their business. I mean, marketing a business back then was like taking out a half-page ad in the phone book, or, you know,
physical content.
A-wood bully because you were the first one in the phone book.
Yeah, you had to ABC decks.
That's right.
Some creative stuff there, though. Like, you know?
Well, yeah, A-wood bully, right?
That's advice my dad gave to me when I was very young. And he's like, well, I started my own. My dad was an HVAC guy.
Okay.
And he's like, I started my own company. My grandfather had a HVAC company, which I never really knew about until I was older. But it was named after his name, South Heating, which is an S, but it was still very successful, and it paid for his life. And when he tried to give it to one of my uncles or my dad, they're all just like, no, we don't want the company. We'd rather just, party or whatever they were doing. But my dad said he briefly thought about starting one, and and that was the thing. He said, you have to name it so it's high up on the yellow pages so people will see it. And I was like, yeah, but how am I going to market it with a catchy name if I'm worried about the first letter?
Yeah.
I'm like, why don't we just make it sound cool and then get people to see it? And he's just like, that's how it works. I'm like, well, we'll see.
Yeah, that wasn't how the world worked.
I decided to start with a W just because that.
But but now, why would that even matter?
Name doesn't matter. Where, a kid I grew up with, his last name was Ward, and his dad's fence company. Honest story, Ward's fencing.
Well, that's kind of clever too, because it's an award, award winning.
But
so
it was your SEO. Like that was your optimization, right?
Yeah. The only search engine was a yellow book.
Yellow pages. That's it.
That's funny.
That's it. So you talked a little bit about your family and them being contractors. Is that how you got into this? How did you get into contracting and where you're at today?
I got into building fences when I was 15 as a summer job with my uncle who worked for someone else. They just needed a laborer, and I was down because hey, $7 an hour, I'll do it. And so I started doing that in the summers while I was in high school, right? Then after high school, I started to think about, wanting a different career. Because I was working in the fence building industry, and, the guys I was working with weren't exactly successful. They were like middle-aged guys. Most of them had, drinking problems, stuff like that. So I was like, I don't really want this to be me. And I just assumed that everyone who builds fences is fall down drunk.
Right.
I don't know why.
Contractor life.
Yeah. And I just I don't want to be that guy, because I personally never even had drop alcohol in my life, even till now. I've never had a sip, and I think that was part of the reason. I was like, I just looking at people falling like trees all the time, and I'm like, no thanks. But so when I finished high school, I went to college for accounting, which was like what I could think of was the opposite. Accounting sucks, by the way. I wouldn't want to do it for a living. I'd rather hire an accountant.
You want a good one though.
You want a guy
want a
who,
good one.
You want a nice rule bender, not breaker, but
not breaker.
No,
let's be totally clear. There is no breaking. It's all bending.
Whatever he tells me to do, I do.
Yeah.
I don't tell him to do anything. I don't tell him. I just whatever you do.
Do you suggest?
No. I say, can we?
Yeah, can we?
Yeah, that's a good. That's not suggesting. That's just
Can
asking.
we do this? And he'll say yes or no, and I trust his opinion because it's really his name on the line, not mine. He's doing my returns. But anyways, aside from that, accounting, I ended up doing about 9 months of it. I'm like, I'm done. I kept falling asleep at my computer, and I was just like, I really wasted my time. But while I was in school, I was doing door-to-door sales, which I also thought for some reason, because I bought a suit at a thrift store, I felt like, I'm moving on up from being the fence building kid, and I'm like, I'm in a sales job.
You're a salesman.
Yeah, I'm in sales. Right? Even though I'm literally going door to door in December, trying to raise money for charities or sell people vacuum cleaners or whatever the hell I was doing, right? And that for me, that was like on the right path for some reason. I thought that. I got paid commission, which is where I learned how to sell. And if you don't sell, you don't eat. And that was a big part of that, getting rid of like the anxiety that some entrepreneurs have when they start out, knowing that they're in open water with no life jacket and it's time for you to just sink or swim.
So do you think that a lot of that has to do with feeling like you're going to fail, like why a lot of people have a hard time, getting into that? And do you feel like that might have broken that for you, that like, getting a door slammed in your face? Like it's happened to me countless times.
My eyes spit on.
Yeah. But then you still go to the next door
with the same smile,
and you do it and you put it on.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah,
and you put it on.
But it was never the fear of failure I ever had because I was only like 18 when I was doing this. It was always the what I liked about it when they said it was kind of like I was like the perfect, I guess, victim when I got into commission-based income, where it's like what they want is kids like me who go, not to go, well, I guess I don't get paid if I don't perform. I go, I can get paid whatever I want. Right? Sky's the limit, baby. And I'm like, I can do this. So for me, it was more driven I was less afraid of failure, and I was more driven by the idea of
success,
of actually having success. And I didn't, and at the time, I was still only 18 and already assumed that my options were limited. I assumed that my career choices were going to be whatever they are in front of me. I could have become a brain surgeon or something. Like for some reason at that age, I just didn't think that was a thing. So I'm like, I have to carve out something here. So the only way I can do it, because I'm not going to a fancy university or something. Instead, I did 9 months at a private college, which was literally the dumbest thing I could have done, but I was just a kid.
That's what you're supposed to do though, right? That's what everybody tells you you're supposed to do.
Yeah, you're supposed to do it.
And then you learn what you didn't want to do.
What I didn't want to do is spend $35,000 on an education that I wouldn't use anyway.
Which made you go hustle even harder from door to door so that you can make that $35,000 back.
Exactly. So I can make
now
my
you're $35K in the hole.
Yeah.
That wasn't much of a
make my monthly payments. But I also had a string of interesting jobs. So I would still go in the summer and do the fence and deck thing. Of course, the guys I was working with, they were good guys, but they were by no means doing high-end work. They were doing chain link fences, wood fences, the kind that your uncle would slap up on a weekend, or that your buddies would say, oh, let's go have a few beers and put the deck up. That's the kind of decks we were building for other people.
Right.
And I didn't know any terminology. I didn't know what a joist was. I didn't know beam. I didn't know ledgers. I didn't know anything about building code. I knew nothing. I just knew how to dig holes and screw and cut wood. And that was the whole job. But I would do that in the summer. In the winter, I would go to temp agencies, and I'd get factory jobs, counting nuts and bolts, or, cutting up pepperoni for pizza, and then just these random jobs that would pay minimum wage. and they would just get you through the winter because I was getting paid cash under the table to do these fences and stuff when I was younger, right? Because that's just, I don't know why, but I guess buddies of mine, if they would get like a union job, they'd be like hitting the lottery. Like, oh my God, he's got a union job. He's getting paid
I've never
a living wage to do this. Yeah. That's crazy.
Well, it's a living wage. It's basically you're now provided the tools, like to be comfortable the rest of your life.
Comfortable sounds like somebody's nailing my feet to the floor.
Yeah.
And you say that.
Yeah, but that's what it is.
Get comfy because you're staying here.
Yep, you're comfy. You're staying here. Like, this is your ticket for your life. You're comfortable.
And part of that is self-sabotage for me, my attitude and my personality, where I'm like, I don't want to be comfortable.
Right.
Because I feel like there's so much more for me to figure out that I don't want to be a union framer or HVAC guy or whatever it is that people want you to do, because okay, yes, it starts at $30 an hour and at the time making $7 under the table to go into making 20 something to do the exact same job sounds appealing to the people around you, but maybe not to me. Maybe to everyone that would have benefited from my making money other than myself would have thought that was an amazing idea and I need to do that. But me, I'm like, oh, fuck you. I'm going to do whatever I want. And part of that probably made me suffer for quite a few years more than I should have, where my friends were purchasing houses in their 20s and figuring things out where I was still like just hustling.
That's the life of a creative person though, right? It's like, it's that continuous struggle, but it's the desire to have that continuous struggle so that you can find out more about yourself. And I think, as a creative person, you always want to be creating, you want to be doing more. And if you're stuck, if you feel still and you feel like you're not progressing, then it's like, what's the point of, doing this length of life, right? Like, and I mean, I feel like if I didn't put myself into a bunch of situations where I had to, sink or swim, and you'd
never know.
You would never know. And like, how do you learn these things about yourself? How do you know when to take calculated risks in life? How do you know when to put yourself all in? And I suppose that there's some desire to never want to know those things about yourself, but I feel like I don't understand.
I don't know what
personally.
you're talking about. Yeah. I definitely want to know where the bottom is, and I want to know where the ceiling is.
And
now, the ceiling is
both pretty hard to understand.
Yeah. And finding the ceiling is a lifelong.
Yeah,
you will never find the ceiling. The ceiling is constantly changing.
My next question was going to be: did you finally? You talk about finding the ceiling and the floor. Have you found either one?
I found the floor quite a few times. Yeah, the ceiling I don't believe I found because I'm always more surprised with what I'm capable of as things like. So what I'm getting now is a lot of people who look at me like I'm successful. And I'm still not feeling it. So when people are like, even guys who work for me and stuff like that, they look at me like, wow, like you're doing so well. And I'm like, would you shut up? Because I haven't even started.
I'm going to let you know something.
What?
You're never going to feel that.
Don't even start.
You're never.
And one day I'm going to sit back and go,
no, you're not.
I did it.
You're not. You want to know why?
Why is that?
Because you've made it this far with continuously doing different things, progressing, being a different version of yourself, making a different version of yourself, constantly having a desire to find what that next thing is for yourself.
It's that strive to be better tomorrow than today.
And there is no sky.
So until there is no tomorrow, you're always going to have that drive to want to be better tomorrow than today.
Yeah. What's that lyric? Nothing at the top but a bucket and a mop. Yeah. And it's like, every time I hear that, I'm like, that's so true. Get this fucking bucket and mop away from me. But like,
you're going to die happy.
The thing is, sometimes I do get doses of me appreciating what I've done before reality sets in, that everything you build is basically a house of cards in some form or another. So you have to keep building more. But occasionally, say if I'm traveling or doing something where I can like you just a couple weeks ago, we're driving through California, down the coast, and I'm just like, fuck, like literally making stupid little videos with my phone is the reason I'm here right now, and the reason that we're staying in Beverly Hills at a fancy hotel, or the reason we're doing some of these things, and it's simply because of all the work that I put in. But I have to keep working, unfortunately. It's not just going to flow.
Yeah, no, it's never.
It's not like I can just stay here.
But even you meet people who so like the thing is you're going to have this idea of what success is, right?
Right.
Like my
heroes.
You've met people all around you.
I've met my heroes.
And I feel like most of your followers will probably put you in the same association with those people.
Yeah,
You know?
and that's wild, right?
Is it? But so think about the mindset of the hero of yours, right? And like,
You must be feeling the same thing, but more pressure.
it's almost more pressure, right? It's way more
and
pressure.
I think that why I started to earlier this year. I don't feel it now. Like I've come into the groove of things, but I felt that pressure of people assuming my success and assuming I can pull this off.
Right.
And then because my whole youth was like, nobody believes in me. I have to prove everyone wrong. And now it's like, everyone believes in me. Just fucking stop.
Right, and then it's almost flipped around because you end up with that
It's
more
the
fear in your
opposite.
set. It's the exact
Now
opposite.
everyone just assumes I'm going to get it done.
Yeah, it's just
And
it's
like,
a
whoa,
stress, man. It's a
whoa.
stress.
Everyone thinks that I'm Mr. fucking Big who's just going to take care of everyone.
Which one would you
fill
rather?
everybody's hand.
Hey, which one would you rather?
Man, I kind of just want my cake and to eat it too.
Yeah, we all do, but like, you got to pick one. Which one would you rather?
I'd prefer the pressure as long as because I'm progressing.
You're a performer.
Yeah.
You're always going to hit the home run when you step
Yeah.
up to the plate if you have to. And like that's
Yeah.
honestly, this is one of the reasons why we wanted to have you as, one of the first guests, because you have that dog in you. Like you are the type of person that I think no matter what anybody says to you, you're going to find a way to prove yourself right.
Correct.
Not everybody else.
Yeah.
But you're going to find a way to prove yourself right. And
Yeah.
then through other people, challenging you to these things and like people hating on you and all that stuff. That's just like small fuel to, just prove yourself.
Yeah.
right.
And part of me knows, like, I don't even remember the names of the people I make videos about when I'm proving them wrong. And it's not even necessarily to prove them wrong. I'm just trying to entertain people while I'm at it, right? I can educate and entertain at the same time, and maybe take somebody's ego down a notch that needs to be taken down, because he literally has username 57644, and he's acting like for some reason he's done more than I have, and he deserves to have what I have.
And
in his
you know
brain.
what? And you know what? Maybe he has.
No, he hasn't.
But maybe he has, right? Like let's go down the path of maybe he has.
He said no, he hasn't.
Let's give him that. Let's give him that.
Hypothetically, let's say he has.
Let's say like the dude has built the Louvre.
And now he just
right?
likes to talk shit
Yeah.
about people who do less
The
than him.
Louvre. En français? The Louvre?
Is this
Oh,
is this a
You're American, I
museum?
forgot.
Is that
Yeah.
how you pretentiously
Yes,
pronounce
yeah.
okay.
From America.
Is that the Glass Museum in the
Well, yeah,
French?
no, let's
Yeah.
just say he's built the Guggenheim.
Okay. Again,
And do I have to say Heim? Guggenheim?
he's built the Empire State
yeah,
Building.
he's built the Empire State Building.
Now we're talking.
He built the Statue of Liberty.
I'm
That's
picking
French
up
too.
what you're putting down.
Yeah, all right. And so he's done that, right? And he's coming at you and he's saying like, man, I don't like how you friggin' swing that hammer. Like what? So, okay,
It's
so like
the wrong way to swing a hammer.
Yeah. You gotta hold it all the way at the top.
So like I said, like let's just take into the assumption that he's done those things. You want to know what's going to be the first thing to make me feel like that dude has not done those things? Because he's insulting the way that you're swinging a friggin' hammer.
Yeah, well, one thing that I've noticed is no one I have respect for has ever said something disrespectful on the internet to me.
Right.
Ever. There's never been like, I can't believe that guy of all people said that about me. Wow. It's always like, okay. It's like some guy who doesn't even know how to take a profile pic properly, or it's just like, it's always the person, like, if you look at them, they always look exactly what you imagine them to look like.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Always. Just
No.
the misery.
not weird at
it's
all.
not. No, it's not.
Inside, outside,
Yeah.
just pathetic.
Yeah.
And I love it.
I mean, we don't know those people on a personal level, but you can take a swinging chance at understanding who they are based off of the way that
Profiles will
they
tell you a lot.
when they attack somebody else on social media. And for anybody out there right now that like is actually a keyboard warrior and that will just sit there and hate on other people for the work that they do, I'm going to let you know right now that all you're doing is making them work slightly harder. And if anything, the work that they're doing harder is further separating you from them.
I don't even know that it's making their work harder. In fact, I feel like you're actually probably like doing them a favor and a
It's a favor.
service. It's
Yeah,
a favor to them
it's a
because
favor.
the person who is geared to build their own business, like Gord, anybody, the person that's geared to build their own business, the only thing that does is fuel them to be better tomorrow, to not be like that person, and to be like, to do a better job. So realistically, all you're doing is making them want to like extend their reach, provide more content, and be a better version of themselves tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I mean, we can't change everybody. So like, I'm not taking the business model out from underneath you right now by telling people to stop finger warrioring, because it's just going to happen regardless. The world is going to continue to turn. The sun's going to go up and it's going to come down, and like, that's going to be a thing.
We're going to finger war after this.
Yeah.
You and me.
I declare
don't tell me with a good time, man.
No thumbs. Yeah.
No thumbs. No thumbs allowed. We're having a finger war.
Okay, I'm still a little confused.
The motive that I'm trying to think of, what I often think about, I think, because I was guilty of it, obviously, when I was younger, too, when you see somebody who's doing what you wish you were doing and doing it so much better than you would do it, you immediately feel challenged by them. Yeah. And you're like, he's challenging my whole existence right now by just making me sit through this video of him being all happy and getting things done. So I'm going to let him know how amazing I am compared to him. He needs to know. And he types out, actually, like, I think it was a message I got yesterday. The guy's like, you have the body of a toddler and you are nothing. And I'm just like, what the fuck? But like, he just had this.
He ran out of things to talk about.
Yeah,
so
he's just like so badly needed to say something. And he's just like, fuck, something about this guy. I feel like he's challenging me directly, even though I'm one of 12 million people who watched this video. I feel like he's saying fuck you to me. So I'm going to say fuck you back. And like, I don't understand any other logic than that. Like, I'm just trying to wrap my head around let's assume.
That is brilliant. That is so good.
Yeah.
Sir, if you're out there and you're the one that sent this to Gord, let me just tell you, like, I want to look you in the eye and tell you, good one.
Yeah. It's so true. There's some really funny ones that I've got. But the problem is, like, obviously, like, when I was starting to blow up on TikTok, I would pick and choose the dumbest comments and I'd reply to those ones, because it's like you could at least be literate. You can't even spell the swear words. I used to think that they purposely spelled them wrong so they wouldn't get banned or shadow banned or whatever Facebook does.
No, you assume too much intelligence.
Yeah, and then they words they always spell wrong, douche, they always spell douche wrong. It's a tough word.
How do they spell it?
I think it's French word normally. That's
Did they
why
spell it like douche?
They spell like douche with an SH and an E in there.
Douche bag.
Douche.
Yeah, and I'm like, are they spelling it wrong on purpose so they don't get taken down, or are they just illiterate? And then when you ask them that, they get angry. Are you illiterate, or did you spell it wrong on purpose? And then they're like,
you're deflecting. You're deflecting right now.
I'm a real carpenter. I don't spell.
And like, I'm not even an educated. Yeah, I'm not even an educated person. I've always self-educated myself pretty much from the time I was 17 to now. It's all been, other than my accounting, where I learned how to use ACPAC, which is a corporate accounting software. I learned nothing else in that time. So they didn't help me with my business or anything, just to clear that up. Don't do it. It will not help you. Fair. The thing that helped me most in business was my first business I ever started was I was a sole proprietor in my own name. And it was so I could subcontract labor for a flooring company I was working for. And I seen the opportunity where it was easier for him, instead of putting me on payroll, to just pay me per square foot. And it was better for me because we were starting to get some really big areas. And I could, really my chance to really make some money coming from a place where I was making $300 a week to be able to go and make, $12,000 a month just from doing that. So I seen that as an amazing opportunity. But what I didn't realize is, first of all, the WSIB on that was like 8% or something at the time, which is off the top because I'm only subbing labor. So all my money is basically going there, and the taxes, blah, blah, blah. All the problems that you learn your first quarter in business, I learned, and I didn't have anything to leverage other than my time and my ability to use my time. So because I was doing only labor, it wasn't like a business where it's a cost of goods sold type of thing. It was just my labor gets my money. So once you're in the hole, in that, you're stuck in the hole. And there's
forever,
no way out.
Perpetual cycle.
Perpetually chasing it.
Yeah. Also, I was young. I didn't have a vehicle. I didn't have anything. It was literally just an opportunity I saw. I went out of business.
Yeah. Is that how you broke it?
That'll do it. Yeah. that will break the cycle.
Reset the cycle.
That makes the negative number a static, like a very static number.
Now, luckily, I was young enough that I could. Okay, so, I always watch these little things on Instagram and stuff where these entrepreneurs talk about how their first business failed. And it's like, but you get up and you start again. But it's like nobody actually says how incredibly difficult it is to start another company after one had failed.
The hole doesn't go away, by the way. It's
It
not
stays
like,
there.
Yeah, it's not like the hole just goes away.
It doesn't.
And the way that the banks view you, the way that personal lenders view you, and you need money. If you want to start a business, you need money. You need determination and grit more than anybody else in the room. You need to be the top, but then you also need all these other things that are tangible, not the intangibles. You need tangible. You need tangible shit.
So
you need money to make money, is what they say. I feel like that's the saying.
And if you don't have money, you better have a really, really good.
You need a
plan A, B, C, and D in place, because everything that can go wrong will go wrong, and you need
Murphy's
to be ready
Law.
to change horses midstream, as my old boss used to say. He was an Irish guy.
Change horses midstream.
Like you have to be prepared for headaches and putting out fires. And even now, the company has established itself. The cash flow is good. The sales are good. Everything is good. But every morning you wake up and you got 30 emails, 30 text messages at 6:30 in the morning.
You got to get to all of them.
None of them are saying happy birthday.
No,
How's
they
it
all,
going,
they all
big
have
guy?
something.
Yeah.
They all have something that they want.
Yeah, so that's
I
your
messaged
job.
you at 9 p.m. last night, and you didn't message me
Actually,
back.
it was
No, I
11
didn't.
p.m. and
Yeah.
it was then again at 8 p.m. this morning, and then
8
the person
a.m.,
8 a.m. Sorry, and then the person expected a response at some point in between there, and then went off to be very upset with me this morning. I'm not going to say who it was, but if you did that to me last night, you're something.
As
So one
long
thing
as
you
you
have
have the
to-
business phone, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That business phone, by the way, I just got a brand new phone. So we've been running our business through my cell phone.
Me too.
How bad of an idea is that?
Okay,
The
especially
worst.
when you have a large amount of followers
Yeah.
that call you or send you pictures that they shouldn't be sending you.
Yeah, right.
And you're like,
No, I've never had those.
Sitting here.
Never, not once.
Yeah, good. I just block delete everything.
Yeah, that's a
instantly.
smart
If
move.
you want me to see
Did you say
photos,
save, block, delete, or just block, delete?
just block delete, man.
Save,
block delete. Don't encourage that behavior.
No.
Okay, so stupid, yes, but I always answer my phone. So sometimes, at least a couple times a week, I'll answer the phone and say hello, and someone will be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you answered the phone." And I'm like, "Oh, what kind of conversation
You
are we
made
gonna
their
have?" Yeah. So then it's like, okay, sorry to burst your bubble, but I'm the kind of guy who answers phones. I bet you didn't think that. I bet you thought I was more special than that. But yeah, well, that's how you run a business is you answer the phone. Both businesses are run with the same phone, actually, and just mine.
It's nuts. So I just got another phone though. A personal one, and I'm not telling anybody the phone number. Eric, you're getting the phone number. Gord, you're probably going to get the phone number. But it's
a secret number.
I got you know what? Maybe 300 people in my life are getting this phone number.
That's a lot.
Is it?
That's too much. I give it to 4. You know what?
I'm surprised that
Dude, you have more than
I'm
4
getting
kids,
the number,
don't you?
to be honest.
Yeah.
You're not even giving it to some of your children?
Hey, I got a
many
number on
kids?
the
I don't
side.
know. How many
I
kids
got
do
a
you
number
have?
on the side of my truck. You
Yeah.
need to call me. Look that up. But here's the thing. I used to have, when I worked, I was a foreman / project manager for a landscape company before I started Wood Bully. And my job was basically the same job now, but with 1/10 of the income. Yeah. And I had a company phone that they gave me, and I had a personal phone. And my personal phone would stay in my glove box for 6 months at a time, sometimes without me looking at it. I forgot it existed. And that's a good indicator of my personal life versus my business life, and how I really didn't care about my personal life when I was focused on my career.
And, hey, so let me ask you.
Hold on, I want to pause you for a second. We just lost lighting.
Yeah,
So-
and they're on batteries, and you know what? This is a trial and error experience here.
Yeah.
So for next time, you know what we're doing? Bypassing the batteries and going straight to a digital adapter. How about these plants?
They're wicked.
They're
wicked.
nice.
Where'd they come from?
Thank you, Schaeffler, for these plants. They've been bringing in plants into our shop recently, and I gotta tell you, anytime you pair live edge with
Live plants.
plants, holy moly, has it changed? It changes my vibe, my mood. I walk into the store and I'm like, oh yeah, like an extra pep in my step. I'm telling you, I do. I come in the morning, the sun's shining, it glistens across like a nicely oiled table, and you got the plants there, and it makes me feel Makes me feel good.
I like the plants and they look nice, but I don't walk in and I'm like, ficus, what's up? Like,
yeah, you know the
we don't
names,
have
right?
a ficus in here.
That's a brag
I don't
right
know.
there.
Like, I don't do that.
You know the
snake.
names.
Like, what's up, snake plant?
Yeah.
You're making my day today.
So Jackie was getting on. Your wife was getting on putting tags on these that should tell us the names. So we're gonna name these plants, by the way.
Oh, okay, like so like
That's
actual
George.
yeah.
That's Bob.
like
yeah.
actual like names
naming them.
or just like their proper.
Are these alive or
scientific
plastic?
names?
They're alive.
Oh, that's so much responsibility, man.
It's a terrible idea.
I would
like
kill them all.
Jay's like, oh hey, we're getting live plants in the shop,
specifically
and I'm
said
like,
to
we're
Shea
doing
Fleur. I
what?
specifically said to Melinda that these plants, if they need to be watered more than like once every 2 weeks to a month, we are going to be serial killers in this store, and I really don't want to be responsible for the
gross
murder
negligence.
of so many
For
plants.
just gross negligence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be me. Oh, you needed water?
I'm gonna
Yeah.
be honest with you.
It didn't
I
have
saw
salt
I just give them beer.
Yeah, yeah.
just pour it in there. Just
Probably shouldn't give plants beer.
the next morning, I saw Melinda and Martina at a market, and so I talked to them about putting plants. The idea that you had to put plants here, and I'm like, don't listen
do
to
it.
me right now. I know this guy. He's got a track record. He's got a black thumb. Do not
They
do it.
did it
and
anyway.
They did not heed any advice
they
I gave
did it
them,
anyway.
and they're here anyhow.
Well, I'm really happy about it.
look
So
healthy.
thank you, Shea Fleur, for the beautiful plants. And
Yeah.
thank you, Chronicle, even though I'm the only one drinking this beer right now, the Lon Lon Milkshake. Thank you very much for sponsoring this little discussion here. And I have to say that they're right around the corner from where I live. And I frequent.
do you bicycle ride there?
I don't.
That would be strange.
No, you know what? That would be
you have a
socially
bicycle?
responsible, and that would probably put me in a lot better shape than I am.
Do you have a bicycle?
I do have a bicycle.
I do not.
Gordon, listen to this. So he does have a bicycle,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Boys, I'm riding to work next week." This is like last summer, but I'm like,
I did, though.
Tool,
Wait,
take the
hold
tools
on.
with you
So
on
I'm
the
like,
trailer behind it.
I'm like, no, you're not. That's a far ride, Jay. And I don't even want to
It's
go.
old man
I don't even
strength,
want to
bro.
go down this road, but he's in pretty good shape, pretty good looking dude. But I'm like, there's no way possible that you're riding your bike to work here. And he's like, no. I'm like, how far is it? And he rattled off
20-something kilometers.
That made no sense to my American brain, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he rattled off some
13
kilometers.
miles.
I'm like, bud, that's like a far way. That's
Yeah.
that's like 12 miles or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And he's like, no, I will. I swear to God, he shows up the next morning, Crocs, cut off jeans,
I
and
did
a
that.
tank top with a backpack on, just pedaled away. He's like, here I am, did it.
Did you Uber home and leave the bike here?
No, he rode home.
Rode home. I got to say that like that was the first ride of the year too. Never
Saddle sore.
Yeah,
Saddle sore.
never do that.
Who showed
I
up the
won't.
next week on a bike though?
You,
That's what's up.
dude, that thing is literally like a Harley Davidson bicycle,
But it does
Like,
not have
is
a motor.
hog.
It does, well, it carries quite a load, my friend.
It does.
I wouldn't bother.
Yeah.
But I have lots of like small bikes for the children.
Oh, right.
They
Tricycles.
Do you ever just like ride around the
Nope.
neighborhood on the nothing?
No, my son has an electric scooter, and I think I might have done a couple of passes at it.
Had to
But,
go at it.
yeah.
I don't know what to
No,
tell you
I'm not
anymore.
really into
Your
it's not-
electric scooter doesn't work
Yeah,
anymore.
I'm not much of a sportsman, so even
fair.
bicycles are off limits. And that.
Neither's Jay. But
No, it's true.
You're just trying to do something healthy,
Oh,
right?
I was just trying, and you know what? So speaking of healthy, like after that conversation when you were here with Balmer,
oh god, here we go. I
You
was
guys-
waiting for this to happen.
well, so I'm not. So
How many
Well,
times
we
can
were
you-
talking about how we only eat meat and broccoli.
hey, you guys were like keto centric.
How many
guys are
how
like,
many times like listen, how many times could have you have said keto in like a 4-month span? I feel like it's like a part of the cult of keto is that you have to say it 96 times.
Well, I think
told
the new
everyone.
word is they say intermittent fasting.
So
which is different, but
Still
it's like the
currently.
new
What
thing.
they
And
say
it-
now, always say paleo.
I feel like Jay was selling tables for a while, and he was like, "So I'm Jason. I'm on keto, and I like long walks on the beach." And
I feel like that wasn't how it went, but but I will tell you though that after your visit here, I was like, you know what, like Gord, like you're in good shape, dude.
he's
like,
in good shape. He's
You know what?
It's not a drop of alcohol. It's got to be.
No, I've been fluctuated in and out of shape my whole life. So I think I naturally put on weight really fast,
Right.
but I got to watch that shit because it's so easy. So from the time I was like 16, I was lifting weights and hitting a heavy bag in my own carport in order to stay in shape. And then I'd fall out of shape when I'd be like, oh my God, or like after a baby was born, I'd be like, oh. So the heaviest I ever was like literally 2 years ago, I was like 220 pounds. and I'm 5'7", and for me it was a lot. I have pictures.
What's
of them.
your
I don't
normal
even
weight? Like 170, 180?
A healthy weight is like 175.
So you were like 50 pounds above your healthy weight.
Well above. Like even now, I'm 170 something, and my biomass index says I'm morbidly obese because that's some fucking fake news.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I literally was like, you know what? Fuck, I'm never eating sugar again.
Right.
In my life.
Well, so, but like this, like you being healthy in this state right now, do you think that it helps? That it really actually does help you mentally focus? Like, do you get a ton of brain fog, or do you find that
I get brain fog when I eat shit, even if it's healthy shit, if it's shit. So like when I'm at my sharpest and I'm making the best decisions is literally when I'm just eating red meat and vegetables.
Interesting.
And I'm like sharp, and I don't sleep as much. I don't get indigestion. I just feel I don't feel my organs inside me like complaining about whatever's happening.
Like I basically cut out pizza because I targeted that down. So I went on keto, and then
pizza and cheeseburgers are the two things that are very difficult to get rid of.
Cheeseburgers are so tough to get
rid
of.
But you know what? If you're downtown, there's places that make buns out of almond flour and eggs.
Yeah.
And you know,
True.
you could have like Burger Priest or whatever. You could have a cheeseburger, and they make it with a keto bun. Or there's certain places if you want advice on where to get, like when you're in the mood for junk food but you don't want to break, I can show you some
I just
places.
need another Swift. All I'm getting at is I need another Swift. I need another Swift ass kicking, because you and Ballmer, between the two of you, ping ponging back and forth, like basically chirping me. Like, you know, you weren't directly chirping me, but it was like you guys are having this conversation about how you guys are so happy, and he just kind of looks over at me and he's like, "You could be in really good shape."
Did he say that?
Yeah, it was something on those lines. And I was like, oh man, like I just got slayed. Like, but
Brian Ballmer just absolutely torched
He's like,
me.
he's feeling self-conscious and insecure. He didn't point that out.
He didn't do it on purpose, I don't think. And he definitely, I don't think
But you felt it because you were thinking it
because I
before he
was
said it.
thinking it. And like, he just like gave me like this like
I don't even think you're in bad shape.
No, but like I could be,
You feel
I
it.
could be,
You
yeah, I
know
could be an animal.
the shape that you are, that you know what you could be.
And
is
like
different.
I
could be an
lift, so I
animal.
lift like every single day, like moving these massive slabs around and like doing all the work that we do.
And
like
it's not enough once you get to a certain age.
it's not.
No, it's
and then
not.
it like, trust me, one pizza, like so like 100 slabs moved does not
Equal
equate
one
to one
pizza.
pizza.
Don't eat pizza with real bread. You can even order gluten-free
cauliflower
bread.
crust
Yeah,
and all
cauliflower
that,
crust. Some places have almond flour crust, and it literally makes a difference. You notice as soon as you eat bread, when your stomach swells up like you're pregnant, you
I
know
wake
that
up in
you
the
fucked
morning
up.
and I look like a Teletubby, and I'm like, okay, this is it. Like I'm no more.
Like even for me as a heavy dude, like I can come in, you can tell what my diet is like based on like my mood,
Your energy
like
levels.
how clear I eat. Like he literally can. He's probably like, I'm sure he comes in and he's like, oh, like big boy had a couple cheeseburgers last night. He's like groggy, he's tired,
Snappy.
Like, oh, he's
Just a bear.
Yeah.
Just a,
And then
just a
your
grizz,
patience,
just an angry
your
Your
grizzly.
ability to solve problems without getting angry
When you were
about
doing
the
the
problems is a big thing.
intermittent fasting,
Killing it.
You were killing it, and like I'm
Feeling better.
I'm popping into the office every single day, looking at you, being like, dude, you're looking good. You're looking good. Your mood was up. You were just like, you were killing it.
You're feeling good.
Are you mad because I gained 18 pounds on my vacation?
No, I'm not mad.
I am. I'm pissed.
That's
I'm not mad.
18 one-pound cheeseburgers that you could have enjoyed.
Buddy, in like 2.5 weeks, 18 pounds on my vacation.
See, I feel like I do put weight
You would
on
do
my-
that, yeah.
I could put it on, but like I'm also afraid to. And also I ate so much sugar. That was my problem. Like I would eat I'd be like, gotta stop at the gas station, buy a couple Snickers bars and a Monster on the way to work this
I
morning.
remember you saying that was your breakfast for most
My
of the
breakfast
time, eh?
for most of my 20s. And
Do you think most carpenters are like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why there's a statistic that people in the trades are more prone to get diabetes.
Well, yeah, because you're stopping at the gas station every morning.
And we're just
because
putting 300% of our daily intake in one
three
fucking
Monsters,
bite.
a Mountain Dew, a couple Snickers ought to get me through the day, right?
It not even get me through the morning.
Yeah, through the morning.
Because
And
at
then you
noon,
crush another two
we
in
gotta
the
order
afternoon.
cheeseburgers and then send the labor out for more Monsters and chocolate bars or Danishes or whatever the hell snacks they got. And then on the way home, before you hit the highway, you're gonna sit in traffic. I need some
I
snacks for
just
this
got a
traffic.
major craving for Joe Louis. Like you
Yeah,
said, like
see?
the Danishes, and
I
I
don't
went
even
to
know what
like
that- I don't even know what that
little
is.
Debbie
Joe Louis, like
Hostess
the
or
little,
Joe
it's a
Louis.
red velvet, like moon pie dipped in chocolate kind of.
We can't do this. We can't be talking
That's
about all this
Canadian
stuff.
stuff right there.
But anyway, so I think my correlation is just saying like, look, like you're in good shape. Like you're in good shape.
Yeah, I could be in better shape.
You have success rolling your way. It's almost like you've got a horseshoe lodged up your butt, but you know what?
He put it there.
You put the horseshoe up your own butt.
Yeah.
But I think there's like a crazy correlation between how mentally focused you are and how physically focused you are to your craft. That is literally, it makes you the cut above of everybody else around you. Like I don't know a single other and mind you, I don't live in that world of like following carpenters every day. I'm not in that world. But
right.
when I dabble in that world, like when Instagram takes me down that rabbit hole, I'm telling you, your content by far, like top of class. Like to me, it is the epitome. If I was going to give anybody mentor advice, like if anybody was like, Jay, how do I do this? And I knew, like I don't know a ton about that industry, I would be like,
follow Gord.
Hey, because Gord's already said that he'll answer his phone at 9 o'clock on his personal number. I'm going to be like, hey, here's Gord's number. I'm not going to do that. But I would just say, look, like study this guy. Study him because honestly, like you have a recipe right now. Like you got the Colonel's recipe, buddy. Like, and I think as you're going forward in your career and you're watching, the growth and the projections, like honestly, okay, you'll know this number. You're a smart guy, and I think you're very in tune with your own business.
And a former accountant, by the way.
And a former accountant.
Accountant student.
Your growth percentage from last year to this year.
1,000%.
1,000 friggin' percent. But
every year. Even on social media.
Numbers.
It is, but there are some things about Gord's business that like if looking at it from the outside, obviously you knew we were going to have a podcast guest, right? Like trying to figure out, okay, what makes him different? And there's some things that like realistically that he has embraced that like, does he work that much harder than everybody else? I don't know. Do you? Like,
I think I might just want it more.
And but he embraces it. Like he's got a look, right? So let's talk about the three things I said we would get back to the tagline thing.